am Daequan. Daequan. Y'all went outside, man. We got the Fortnite streamer who abandoned 4 million followers. Y'all went outside for Daequan game. I'm telling y'all. Daequan had the game. It's senior dish day, so I took the day off. Might stream for it later on TikTok or GTRP. Bro, if you still in her game, I appreciate you for joining. My boy, man. Benji missing. Damn, that's real love. Thank you, Benji, with the follow. Thank you, Benji, with the follow, gang. Appreciate you, gang. I appreciate you, blood. Wait, who is Benji? My bad. People names don't be their name on Twitch. You know what I'm saying? We're just watching this video for YouTube right now, though. I'm just getting my reactions out the way early. Yeah, man. Y'all ain't coming for that. This the Fortnite streamer who abandoned 4 million followers. They talking about Daequan, man. Let's see. I am Daequan. I bet you ain't know that. Come on, y'all.
Daequan's rise to fame was extremely fast,
Daequan!
and he began streaming consistently in November 2017, but little did he know that he chose the perfect game at the perfect time, Fortnite Battle Royale. He'd start off with around 5 viewers, and only 1 week later, he'd already surged to a peak of 87 live viewers. Daequan was quickly attracting an audience due to his high level of skill on the game, but it wasn't just skill. Daequan also had a natural talent as an entertainer, and people were drawn into his hilarious personality. Things started moving even faster, and the following week his live view count would skyrocket to 500, and more fuel was added to the fire when Daequan would randomly end up in a squads lobby with the then popular streamer Dakotas. The two would have instant chemistry, and Dakotas took notice of how good Daequan was at the game and would get him invited to the first Fortnite Invitational competitive matches. In these games, Daequan would live up to the hype and go on to win many of these private tournaments, and with the lobbies being full of huge streamers that Daequan was wiping out with ease, it wasn't long before he saw even more growth. And by the end of December, he now had 5 invitational wins, 700 wins in public games, and had peaked at around 3,000 live viewers. This was absolutely incredible if you consider the fact that just 45 days ago, Daequan was streaming to 10 people. It was now 2018, and he'd continued grinding, going live every day, and by early February, he would reach 10,000 live viewers, with his YouTube now seeing 10 million views in a month. On top of this, he would also sign to the pro esports org TSM. In March, he would then break the world record for the most kills in one game, and by April, he had solidified himself as one of the biggest streamers in the world, averaging 10,000 viewers every stream. Daequan would also collab with other huge streamers, and would move to LA to live in the now iconic TSM Streamer House, alongside his roommates Hamlin and...
Chat, let me tell you about these 3 motherfuckers right here, gang. I used to watch Daequan, Hamlin's, and Myth every single day after school. And if you see this comment, my boy Ant, we used to watch Daequan so much, gang. Myth was really him, gang. Like, Myth was him, gang. Like, shout out Myth, because Myth still make content. Myth is him, gang. But Daequan was really that boy, gang. Like, for real, for real. He was really that guy. I'm Daequan 360 ooga booga booga. Hey, dawg, Daequan had it though, but look, y'all went outside. You little kids that be in my chat, y'all us like 10, gang. Y'all wasn't outside. Daequan was him. I'm telling you.
Myth, who were also some of the biggest streamers in the world at the time, with the 3 often collaborating together on and off stream, creating even more buzz around Daequan. And his growth was unstoppable, as by June 2018, Daequan would now peak at 150,000 live viewers. And when you consider he'd only been streaming for around 7 months at this point, this level of viewership was nothing other than jaw-dropping. And his YouTube channel would eventually peak in August 2018 with 68 million views. And Daequan seemed to be happier than ever. However, in this very month, Daequan would reveal details about his past and how he'd previously had serious struggles with his health and had been battling depression.
Yeah, so like I'm 20, I had a really high paying job. I was just having the time of my life, man. And then I got extremely sick. I was sick for 3.5 years. Very, very, very sick. I had to quit my job. I was literally just sitting in my bed. It was just severe nausea. At all times, it just felt like I was being stabbed in my stomach. And then 3 months went by, and 6 months went by, and then a year went by. by, and that's when I really started getting depressed. And then on top of that, I had my first lung collapse. I was literally in the hospital for a month just for that. To this day, I still never knew what was wrong with me, and I still have those feelings sometimes in my stomach. I don't know, I just kind of like fight through it and ignore it as if it's not even there. My entire life was just
no. Prayers up to Daequan, gang. Like, genuinely, like, I didn't know that, gang. I just always was like, what the fuck happened to Daequan? The nigga, like, was entertaining and funny, still good at the game. I thought maybe he just stepped away because Fortnite started getting boring. I didn't know he had health problems. Is he good now? Daequan? Man, I just want to say, Daequan, you really made niggas' childhoods. Like, I swear to God, gang. Like, I hope you good. Prayers up to you, gang. One of my favorite creators of all time. Get well. Like, it's been years, you know what I'm saying? But I can still say, get well soon. Like, that shit still going on. I pray that it's cured tomorrow. Like, whatever's going on. But, damn, I didn't know that about Daequan, man. Prayers up to him. What the hell?
Ripped from me, you know? So I was super depressed, man. Like, it was really bad.
Daequan still felt he hadn't fully overcome the sickness. However, he would fight through and ignore the pain, and continued streaming consistently all throughout 2018, going live almost every day, consistently averaging 20 to 30,000 live viewers. 2018 would be an incredible success, and going into the new year, Daequan would set himself a New Year's goal of uploading daily content in 2019. However, that goal was far from met, and 2019 would prove to be a troubling year for Daequan. For the first few months of the year, he would stream a lot less than the year prior and was often tweeting about his struggles with sickness. But things weren't all bad, as he was still fairly active and his streams were still doing amazing, averaging 20,000 viewers despite Fortnite losing some popularity. However, by the end of April, it seemed his health problems were becoming much harder to manage, as the following month he would only go live 9 times, with Daequan tweeting, "The worst type of stomach problems are the ones where you don't know what the cause is, so you're just always in pain/nauseated and don't know how to make it go away. Hopefully we'll figure it out soon. I'm trying." And
Damn,
unfortunately, he wouldn't figure it out soon, with him not posting a single upload to YouTube or going live even once for the next 2 months. And after 2 months away, he would eventually tweet about how he's feeling better and should be returning very soon. He stayed true to his word and had his return stream on the 10th of August 2019, going live to a peak view count of 80,000, showing just how many people had missed him. This was accompanied by a return to YouTube with a video titled, "Where Have I Been?", giving his audience an insight into his life and why he left.
Yo, what's good, everybody? I miss y'all, man. I miss everything. During my whole time grinding, I was dealing with all those health issues. Finding out what was wrong with me was a top priority this year, and that was the reason for my original break. And having all that said, things continued to go downhill. Like Exy, she ended up eating at a restaurant and catching E. coli. On top of that, she had a really bad reaction to the antibiotics that she was on. Balancing all of this on top of streaming a game that I started to find very unfun and more of a chore to play, it really sucked. Literally, all the things I blocked out, all the things I ignored, all the stress I swept under the rug, it just caught up to me, you know? I just missed the feeling of waking up ready to play a game that I fell in love with, and I haven't had that feeling in a very long time. I started to dislike Fortnite once I started playing pro. It was just a snooze fest. I've gone through so much, but I'll be alright. I'm gonna be back super consistent on everything soon enough. I miss you guys, man.
Following this video,
Damn,
Daequan's
bro.
girlfriend's health condition would get worse, and this seemed to impact his stream schedule, with him being very inconsistent throughout August. Daequan would then have a small run of consistency before disappearing again in the middle of November, and this was followed by a tweet where he would write about how bad his girlfriend's health had become and how it was destroying his mental state. During his hiatus, Daequan would post a tweet longer in December 2019, writing about how it hasn't been his year, and in 2020, he would be back. But that didn't turn out to be true, and despite saying he'd be in the full swing of things by January, he wouldn't go live or upload a single video until 26th of February 2020, almost a quarter of the way throughout the year. And if you thought that disappearance was bad, what follows is much worse. And Daequan would go live just twice more before completely disappearing for the whole of 2020.
Damn.
Not to mention this was during the
I don't
peak of the
blame him.
coronavirus, where he would have been likely stuck
COVID.
inside with presumably not much to do, and streamers were now getting more views than ever, with Twitch seeing massive growth all around. But with no tweets, no streams, and no YouTube videos following March 2020, people were in the dark.
Yeah, I feel like the best time of streaming and the best time to stream would have been.
We're getting more views than ever, with Twitch.
I feel like the best time to stream would have been in 2020, like to start. Man, look at this shit. 5 billion? No, a million, 5 million for like, damn. No, that's billion. What the fuck? It say I was watching millions, but that's billion though. Am I tweaking? Am I stupid? But anyways, damn, bro. Yeah, the best time to stream would have been during that time. And I feel like everybody know what streaming is now, and everybody want to do it, and it's becoming oversaturated. But the best time to stream was definitely between them. Like when it was nothing to do, 2020 COVID, like that was the best time. But everybody and their mama, everybody and their grandma and their auntie, they want to stream now, gang. I don't get it, bro. It's so oversaturated. What y'all think? What y'all think?
Seeing massive growth all around. But with no tweets, no streams, and no YouTube videos following March 2020, people were in the dark of where Daequan was. And it wasn't until November 2020, after 8 months, his fans would get any kind of answer, with a tweet writing how he felt better than he had in years. Many expected this to be his return,
health is
but
so
little
important,
did his
gang.
fans know at the time, Daequan was in fact very far from returning. December 2020, he was ghost. January, February, March of 2021, nothing. Daequan had been gone so long, YouTubers began making video essays on his disappearance, with multiple viral videos. Daequan's fans had made it very clear that they wanted him back, with thousands of comments showing their support for him. However, Daequan would not return despite this outpouring of love, and was nowhere to be seen all the way until August 2021, when he would finally show he was still alive with a mysterious tweet of the emoji eyes. And if you thought that after almost 2 years of inactivity, Daequan would be irrelevant, you'd be very wrong. People were more hungry for his content than ever, and it showed, with this tweet getting over 300,000 likes, and a huge outpour of massive creators showing their excitement. Something big was definitely coming, and this was followed by posters and billboards showing up all around LA, with Daequan and his former TSM teammate Hamlin's, with quotes such as, "Have you seen these streamers?" and "Find the streamers." This was followed up 2 days later by the announcement that Daequan had joined NRG alongside Hamlin's and 7 other friends to make a content house called the NRG Foom House. A YouTube channel was created for the group, with the first video titled Revealing.
Wait, what happened between them? Like, why?
Foom House. A YouTube channel was created for the group, with the first.
Why is Myth not in this shit? I stopped playing Fortnite and shit, and just like I grew up, gang. What the fuck? I grew up. I stopped keeping in touch with all that stuff that was going on. But why was Myth not in NRG? Generally, not even Clip Farm. I don't know. Like, what? Why did they get into it? I was seeing clips. Myth was texting them, and they wasn't responding. Like, what happened? What happened? Like, why is they not cool no more? I don't understand. What happened? What happened between Daequan, Hamlin's, and Myth, the TSM boys? What happened?
Video titled Revealing Daequan and Hamlin's new content house, which quickly gained 3 million views and would show Daequan in his new $7 million content house. And a couple weeks later, Daequan would stream for the first time in a year and a half, seeing a peak view count of 90,000 live watching. But
So
as is often the
Daequan
case
still
with
got it.
creators, if they have disappeared before and are notoriously inconsistent, they will often do the same in the future. And well, that turned out to be the case for Daequan. Despite huge money invested by the org, huge numbers pulled in new content, and Daequan proving he can still stream to a massive audience on Twitch, after just 2 months of uploads to the channel, the NRG Foom House would stop uploading, and it was over already. Daequan would also have his last stream of 2021 in the same month, and his last tweet before disappearing through November and December. This was so confusing. He just had this massive hyped return, and now he was already gone? What was going on? Well, viewers would eventually get answers in January of 2022, with Daequan tweeting, "Alright, time to talk about everything," and going live on his Twitch. This was accompanied by a video to his YouTube addressing everything. In the video, he explains all the problems with the Foom house, with the main issue being that apparently the internet was absolutely terrible and Daequan's room had no hot water or heating. Whilst his fans were showing support in the YouTube comments, many people on Reddit were not impressed by this video, with comments such as, "Zero credibility of this guy, came back for a paycheck, he just used his fans, streams and then disappears again." My favorite part was him complaining about how he had to sleep in the movie room. "I hope I never experience cold so bad in the bedroom of my mansion that I have to sleep in the movie room. If only he had enough money to buy an electric heater." Following this, he would tweet about how his nightmare was over. I want to mention how he was in the process of moving back to Vegas and couldn't wait to do IRL content. By February the 7th, he'd now moved in and had internet, but in his return stream, things were very different. He'd clearly grown very tired of Fortnite. After all, the game was completely different now to how it was in its peak 4 years ago, and Daequan would decide to stream a game other than Fortnite, seeing him play Lost Ark. And let's just say this change in content, accompanied by his extreme levels of inconsistency over the last 3 years, turned out to not go well together, and he'd see an average of 3,700 viewers, all whilst losing 500 followers. But then 2 days later, he would jump back on Fortnite, averaging 14,000 viewers and gaining 3,000 new followers, showing that if he just kept playing Fortnite, he'd still be one of the biggest streamers in the world. But despite the successful stream, Daequan would never go live ever again following this stream.
Damn.
And since this moment, he hasn't gone live in over 3.5 years, with not a single explanation of where he has been. No tweets, no videos, no Instagram posts, no streams, leaving his audience completely in the dark. Throughout 2022 and 2023, fans would wait and hope for a return, or even just a tweet from Daequan to explain where he'd gone and if he was okay, but that would never come. However, there was an important development in November 2023, with the announcement of Fortnite OG being released, which would see the game revert back to its old original map, loot pool and mechanics. This sparked a lot of hype around old Fortnite streamers who had reached huge viewership back in the early days of Fortnite. With fans wanting a hit of nostalgia, players like Myth, Tfue and Ninja were sure to see a huge influx in viewership, and this announcement reignited speculations of Daequan's whereabouts, with many wondering if this was the moment to encourage him to return to streaming. If he came back now to play OG Fortnite, it's highly likely he would have been streaming to a huge audience, and if there was a time to return, this was it. However, his old TSM teammate Myth would tweet, "Spent this morning thinking about how I'm gonna log into OG Fortnite without the real OG squad," clearly suggesting that he'd had no contact with Daequan, and nothing to suggest that Daequan would be making a return, which of course was heartbreaking for fans. After so long with no explanation, some fans would start to get emotional, as they felt they deserved at least a tweet to explain why he had left. And for the first time, some of his fans seemed to be losing their patience with Daequan.
Welcome to the NRG Thoom house, baby.
Waste of $7 million. Finesse all of your fans for millions of dollars just to leave again. I don't give a if you got problems, bro. I know damn well it's not big enough problems to not make a single tweet. Finesse all of y'all, bro, for money. I just find it so weird how you can put all of your friends in this house, have a $7 million house, and literally, like, leave your fan base and not make a single tweet. I think Hamlin's is cool. Didn't he make a tweet about it? But Daequan just left. I don't understand that.
Back and we taking over. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're taking over.
This is exactly how I feel. They do not care about anyone on the internet, especially the people that got them where they are now. Straight scammed NRG2. So
that's the thing that I never want to do. Like, when I make it and shit like that, gang, I don't never want to switch up on my fans, like, or supporters. Like, fuck fans, supporters, gang. Like, this the thing, gang. I'm not going to switch up. Like, once I make it, I'm not going to forget where I come from, gang. I still remember the nights, you feel me, sleeping, you feel me, at granny crib and trenches and shit like that. And, you feel me, going to save a lot and shit like this, or you feel me, days where I gotta do this and that and just stuff like that, or days where I ain't had this $25 100 camera, you feel me, $2,500 camera, like, you feel me, and days that, like, days like this where, or days like this where I was, you feel me, young as hell making content, like, I ain't gonna never forget where I came from, gang. And I just feel like a lot of creators, a lot of rappers, once they get comfortable, they fall off, because And even if they fall off because they want to, they get comfortable and they forget where they came from, and it's just bogus. Because it's like, you wouldn't be who you is without your fans, without your supporters, and I don't never want to be like that. So that's my promise. Somebody clip this right now. I ain't gonna switch up, gang. For real. I ain't gonna switch up. I'm telling you, gang. Switching up, that make you lose your fans, bro.
The house couldn't get stable internet. However, some fans were more understanding, suggesting Daequan didn't owe anyone anything, and it was likely due to his depression or physical health issues that he had disappeared. On top of this, some streamers would also speculate as to where Daequan had disappeared, or why he disappeared.
The only scary thing about stepping away from content creation is if you step away, you might lose your passion for content creation. Like, you might realize that maybe it's not what you want to do in life. I think that happened with Hamlins. I think that happened with Daequan. I think when they stepped away and they stopped making content, they realized, oh man, like, I don't really want to make content. And the only way you realize that is once you make that decision to walk away from it. Once you make that decision, you have time to think, to process things.
Niggas don't be hungry enough
in your
no
life
more.
that you haven't had the time to do. So
You made it.
time will tell.
It's unclear what the reason is for Daequan's disappearance, but if I were to speculate, in his career, he would have likely made millions, if not tens of millions of dollars, so he had enough money to disappear and never have to work again for the rest of his life, especially when you consider he majored in business studies at college. Also, Daequan clearly had long-standing mental health struggles with depression and serious physical health issues too, and when you couple this with the extremely high expectations his fans hold of him, perhaps he found the pressure too much. And with enough money saved up, why not just go out at the top and focus on improving his mental and physical health? However, amongst all of this, it is hard to see why he couldn't take a very small amount of time to load up Twitter and even give a minor explanation as to where he's been and just tell his fans that he's okay. It's unclear if Daequan will ever make a return, but it's safe to say he will always be remembered as one of the greatest streamers of all time, and he won't be forgotten anytime soon.
I agree, man. Great fucking video. Daequan is like one of the greatest streamers of all time. It ain't no dispute about that. Shout out directed by Fainted. Great fucking video game. Great video for sure. And man, prayers to Daequan. Feel like people was too hard on him. Health problems are real. Trust me, I know. Man. Shout out Daequan. I hope he feel better. I hope his girlfriend feel better. I hope everybody feel better, man. I hope him and his OG squad, they can get together soon and do something just for the fans, just one time, man. One time. Please. Myth, Daequan, and Hamlin. Myth, Daequan, and Hamlin. Please. One time, gang. One game of Fort. I don't give a fuck if you get off that shit right after. One game. Or something. Please, bro. For the childhood in us, gang. Like, please, bro. Please. But shout out Daequan, shout out Myth, shout out Hamlin, shout out Daequan girl, like everybody that was mentioned in this shit. Shout out to all y'all, man. Thank you, directed by Fainted. Prayers up to everybody, man. You feel me? Keep God first. And yeah, man. Let's go. Appreciate y'all, man. For real, for real. We live. We live. On Twitch every day. Marathon coming soon. December marathon. I'm streaming every single day. Let's lock in, boy. Outtasight live, and we gone.